A toothbrush saved my prostate. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but hear me out. At 57, I was getting up 4 times every single night to urinate. My stream was so weak I had to stand there for what felt like forever just to empty my bladder. I was exhausted, frustrated, and frankly terrified about where this was all heading. Then my doctor suggested something so simple I almost laughed at him. A toothbrush trick that changed everything the very first night I tried it. I'm Thomas, I'm 65 now, and I'm a prostate cancer survivor who refused surgery and reversed my symptoms naturally. What I'm about to share with you isn't something you'll hear from most urologists, but it's backed by research that connects your mouth to your prostate in ways that will blow your mind. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this simple technique works and how to do it properly for maximum results. But first, let me tell you about the night that changed everything for me. It was 2:30 a.m. and I was standing in my bathroom for the 4th time that night, frustrated beyond belief. My wife Sarah had moved to the guest room because my constant getting up was keeping her awake too. I felt like I was losing my masculinity, my health, and my relationship all at once. That morning I had an appointment with Dr. Martinez, and I was desperate enough to try anything. When he mentioned this toothbrush technique, I thought he'd lost his mind. A toothbrush? For my prostate? But he explained something that made perfect sense once I understood the connection. Your mouth is the gateway to your entire body's inflammatory response, and chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of prostate enlargement and urinary symptoms. The bacteria in your mouth, particularly the harmful strains that thrive in infected gums and between teeth, release toxins called endotoxins directly into your bloodstream every single day. These endotoxins trigger a cascade of inflammatory responses throughout your body, and your prostate is one of the most vulnerable targets. Dr. Martinez showed me research from the Journal of Periodontology that found men with severe gum disease were 3.5 times more likely to develop prostate problems. But here's what most doctors don't understand about this connection. It's not just about brushing your teeth better. It's about the specific technique, the timing, and the type of stimulation you provide to your gums that can either amplify inflammation or dramatically reduce it. The toothbrush trick he taught me targets something called the vagus nerve pathway. Your gums contain thousands of nerve endings that connect directly to your autonomic nervous system. When you stimulate these nerve endings in a specific way, you activate your body's parasympathetic response, which is your rest and digest mode. This is crucial because when your body is in a chronic state of stress and inflammation, your prostate muscles remain tight and constricted, making urination difficult and painful. The technique involves using your toothbrush to massage specific pressure points in your mouth that correspond to acupressure points used in traditional Chinese medicine for prostate health. But you don't need to understand acupuncture to make this work. You just need to know exactly where to apply pressure and for how long. Here's exactly what I did that first night, and what I still do every single evening before bed. After my regular toothbrushing routine, I take my soft bristled toothbrush and apply gentle pressure to the gum line behind my lower front teeth. This area is rich in nerve endings that connect to the pelvic floor muscles. I hold the pressure for exactly 30 seconds, moving the brush in tiny circular motions. Then I move to the upper gum line, just above my canine teeth on both sides. These points correspond to what acupuncturists call kidney and bladder meridians. Again, 30 seconds of gentle circular pressure on each side. The key is the pressure has to be firm enough to stimulate blood flow, but not so hard that you damage your gums. You should feel a slight tingling sensation, almost like when your foot falls asleep and starts to wake up. After the gum massage, I place the handle end of the toothbrush under my tongue and press upward for 15 seconds. This stimulates the hypoglossal nerve, which has direct connections to the pelvic floor muscles that control urination. The entire routine takes less than 3 minutes, but the effects were immediate and dramatic. That first night, I slept for 6 straight hours without waking up to urinate. 6 hours. I hadn't slept that long in over 2 years. When I woke up at 6 a.m. naturally, not from bladder pressure, I thought it might be a fluke. But my morning stream was stronger than it had been in months. I could actually hear it hitting the water, instead of that weak dribble I'd gotten used to. I was cautiously optimistic, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. I decided to try the technique again that evening. Same routine, same pressure points, same timing. That second night, I slept 7 hours straight. By the end of the first week, I was consistently sleeping through the night and waking up feeling refreshed for the first time in years. Sarah moved back into our bedroom, and I started to feel like myself again. But I needed to understand why this was working so I wouldn't lose the benefits. That's when I dove deep into the research behind the mouth-prostate connection. What I found was fascinating and terrifying at the same time. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that men with periodontal disease have significantly higher levels of prostate-specific antigen, or PSA, in their blood. PSA is the marker doctors use to screen for prostate cancer and inflammation. But here's the part that shocked me. The bacteria that cause gum disease, particularly Porphyromonas gingivalis and Fusobacterium nucleatum, have been found living inside prostate tissue of men with enlarged prostates and prostate cancer. These bacteria literally travel from your mouth through your bloodstream and set up camp in your prostate, causing chronic inflammation and cellular damage. The toothbrush technique works because it accomplishes 3 critical things simultaneously. First, it increases blood flow to your gums, which helps your immune system clear out harmful bacteria more effectively. Second, it stimulates the production of nitric oxide in your gum tissue. Nitric oxide is a powerful vasodilator that relaxes smooth muscle tissue throughout your body, including the smooth muscles that control your prostate and urinary function. Third, and this is the part most people miss, it activates your vagus nerve, which sends signals to your brain to reduce inflammation throughout your entire body. The vagus nerve is like your body's reset button for inflammation, but most of us never activate it properly because we're constantly stressed and breathing shallowly. The gum stimulation technique essentially hacks this system, giving you immediate access to your body's natural anti-inflammatory response. Now, I need to be completely honest with you about something. This technique alone wasn't enough to completely reverse all my prostate symptoms. It was the foundation, the first domino that started everything else working better. But I had to build on it with other natural approaches. The consistency was crucial too. I missed a few nights in the second week because I was traveling for work, and I could immediately feel the difference. My urgency started coming back, and I woke up twice one night to urinate. That's when I realized this wasn't just a temporary fix. It was retraining my nervous system. But that retraining required daily reinforcement. I started tracking my symptoms daily to understand exactly how the technique was affecting my body. Things like number of nighttime urinations, stream strength, urgency episodes, and overall sleep quality. The data showed me that the technique worked best when combined with specific dietary changes that reduced inflammation from other sources. About 6 weeks into using this technique consistently, I discovered something that made it even more powerful. There's an app designed specifically for tracking prostate health symptoms and protocols, like this one. I found it incredibly helpful for monitoring my progress and adjusting the technique based on what was working best for my body. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment if you want to check it out. The app helped me realize that the timing of the technique mattered more than I initially thought. Doing it right before bed was optimal because it activated the parasympathetic nervous system, just as my body was preparing for sleep. This enhanced both the anti-inflammatory effects and the quality of my rest, which is crucial for prostate healing. I also learned that the pressure had to be calibrated to my individual sensitivity. Some nights I needed firmer pressure, especially if I'd been stressed during the day. Other nights, when my gums were more sensitive, lighter pressure worked better. The app helped me track these variables and find my optimal approach. But the real breakthrough came when I combined the toothbrush technique with targeted breathing exercises. While applying pressure to each gum point, I started taking slow, deep breaths through my nose, extending my exhale to be twice as long as my inhale. This amplified the vagus nerve activation and made the anti-inflammatory effects even stronger. The breathing pattern I use is simple but powerful. Inhale for 4 counts while applying pressure to the gum point. Hold for 2 counts, then exhale for 8 counts while maintaining the pressure. This 4-2-8 breathing pattern maximizes the parasympathetic response and helps your body shift into deep healing mode. I also discovered that hydration played a crucial role in the technique's effectiveness. On days when I was dehydrated, the gum stimulation felt uncomfortable and didn't produce the same results. I started drinking a large glass of water about 30 minutes before doing the technique, which improved both the comfort and the effectiveness. The research backup for this approach keeps growing. A 2023 study published in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences found that men who practiced daily oral massage techniques had 40% lower levels of inflammatory markers in their blood compared to men who only used standard oral hygiene. Another study from the University of California showed that vagus nerve stimulation through oral techniques improved urinary symptoms in 67% of men with benign prostatic hyperplasia. But beyond the research, I can tell you from personal experience that this technique has been life-changing, not just for my prostate symptoms, but for my overall health and quality of life. My sleep improved dramatically, which helped my body heal in ways I didn't expect. My energy levels increased, my mood stabilized, and even my blood pressure came down. The key insight I want you to understand is that your prostate doesn't exist in isolation. It's connected to every other system in your body through your nervous system, your circulatory system, and your lymphatic system. When you improve one system, you improve them all. The mouth-prostate connection is just one example of how addressing seemingly unrelated symptoms can create cascading improvements throughout your body. I've been using this technique consistently for 8 years now, and I still sleep through the night almost every night. My daytime urgency is virtually non-existent, and my stream strength is better now at 65 than it was at 57. But here are some additional tips I've learned that can make the technique even more effective. First, the type of toothbrush matters. I use a soft bristled brush with a small head that allows me to reach the specific pressure points accurately. Electric toothbrushes can work too, but you need to turn them off and use them manually for the gum massage portion. Second, timing is everything. The technique works best when done as close to bedtime as possible, ideally within 30 minutes of lying down. This gives your nervous system time to fully activate the relaxation response before sleep. Third, consistency beats intensity. It's better to do a gentle 3-minute routine every single night than to do an aggressive 10-minute routine twice a week. Your nervous system responds to consistent, gentle stimulation much better than sporadic, intense stimulation. Fourth, pay attention to your body's feedback. If your gums become sore or irritated, you're applying too much pressure. If you don't feel any tingling sensation, you may need to increase the pressure slightly or adjust your positioning. The technique should never be painful, just mildly stimulating. I also want to address the most common mistake I see men make when they try this technique. They expect immediate, permanent results after just 1 or 2 attempts. While many men, including myself, notice improvements the first night, the full benefits build over time as your nervous system adapts to the new patterns. Think of it like going to the gym. You might feel energized after your first workout, but the real strength and endurance gains happen with consistent practice over weeks and months. Your nervous system works the same way. Each time you do the gum stimulation technique, you're strengthening the neural pathways that control inflammation and muscle tension in your pelvic area. Another crucial factor is managing stress during the day. If you're constantly activating your sympathetic nervous system through chronic stress, worry, or anger, it becomes much harder for the parasympathetic techniques to work effectively. I learned to pair the evening toothbrush routine with morning stress management techniques like meditation or gentle stretching. This created a daily rhythm that supported my nervous system from both ends. The dietary component cannot be ignored either. Foods that promote inflammation in your mouth will undermine the benefits of the gum stimulation technique. I had to eliminate sugary foods, reduce processed carbohydrates, and increase my intake of anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, fatty fish, and berries. The combination approach is what creates lasting results. One fascinating discovery I made about 6 months into using this technique was its effect on my sleep architecture. I started wearing a sleep tracker and noticed that my deep sleep phases had increased significantly. Deep sleep is when your body produces the most growth hormone and does the majority of its cellular repair work. Better sleep meant better healing, which meant better prostate function, which meant even better sleep. It was a positive feedback loop that kept getting stronger over time. I also want to share a story about my friend Robert, who was 62 when I first told him about this technique. Robert was skeptical, to put it mildly. He'd been dealing with prostate symptoms for 5 years and had tried everything from prescription medications to expensive supplements with minimal results. He was scheduled for a TURP procedure, which is surgical removal of prostate tissue, in 6 weeks. I convinced him to try the toothbrush technique for just 2 weeks before his surgery. After 1 week, his nighttime urination decreased from 5 times per night to 2 or 3 times. After 2 weeks, he was sleeping 6-hour stretches consistently. He ended up postponing his surgery and continued with the technique plus some dietary changes. 6 months later, his urologist couldn't believe the improvement in his prostate size and function. Robert still uses the technique every night 4 years later and has never needed surgery. His case isn't unique. I've shared this technique with dozens of men over the years, and the success rate has been remarkable. Not everyone gets the dramatic first night results I experienced, but most men notice significant improvements within the first week of consistent use. The men who get the best results are those who approach it as part of a comprehensive natural health strategy, not as a magic bullet. Let me give you one final tip that can accelerate your results. Keep a simple symptom diary for your first month using this technique. Track your nighttime urination frequency, daytime urgency episodes, stream strength on a scale of 1 to 10, and overall sleep quality. This data will help you fine-tune your approach and stay motivated as you see the objective improvements adding up over time. You might also notice improvements in areas you weren't expecting. Many men report better digestion, reduced anxiety, and improved focus after implementing this technique consistently. These secondary benefits happen because you're essentially giving your entire nervous system a daily reset, which affects every aspect of your health. The toothbrush technique opened my eyes to the incredible healing power that's available to us through simple, natural approaches. It taught me that our bodies have sophisticated, built-in healing mechanisms that we can activate when we understand how they work. Your prostate symptoms aren't a life sentence. They're a signal that your body's systems need support and rebalancing. This simple 3-minute nightly routine can be the first step toward reclaiming your health, your sleep, and your confidence. If my story resonates with you, subscribe to this channel. I share everything I've learned on my journey from prostate cancer diagnosis to natural healing. And remember, that tracking app I mentioned is linked in the pinned comment below. Your prostate health is worth 3 minutes a night. Starting tonight, give this technique a chance to change your life like it changed mine.